Okay, so I'm here with Stephen Hendry, my opinion, the greatest snooker player of all time, and a bit of an honour for me actually, because growing up, I was one of my sporting idols. Obviously, we met in China in 2013 when I started playing Chinese pool, and obviously you were doing some promotional stuff. So to have you here in my house. Play a few frames, have a chat, and almost flip the roles a little bit. I know you do, you're amazing on the Q-Tips YouTube channel. So just wanted to flip it a little bit, play a few frames, and maybe just ask you a couple of questions as we go along, okay? So
Honor to be on, honor to be on.
Okay, so
do you want me to break?
Yeah, go on, we'll get a quick best of 5 in.
Okay.
No ball start this time, we'll have to just play off.
No ball, you're not getting any start?
No, you're too good for that. We'll go levels.
Right.
We just won't play the break rule.
Right, okay.
Okay,
so full in the face, try and get one of the wing balls.
Nailed it. Oh, a fraction high.
Oh, I said nailed it, he got me at it.
Get in! You have.
Wow.
So I think one of the things that I wanted to ask you, that sort of a personal question for me really, was I've heard you say before about your practice routines when you were at your best. And you used to do a lot of solo practice, didn't you? Do you feel as though that's something that needs to be done? And do you feel as though that's something that snooker players nowadays and all players don't do enough of?
I found I was always the sharpest at a tournament if I'd done a lot of solo. So my solo practice was, I go to tournaments now and I see some of the routines and it looks so complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why the scoring's better, the breaks are better, because obviously, the more tricky the routine, your cue ball control needs to be better. But I basically just did a lineup, which is simple, or spread the reds about and simple. But what I wanted to do was clear up all the time. So I did 10 in a row clearances. If I missed on the 7th, I had to go back to the start.
So you would do a lineup and you would say, I've got to clear it 10 times in a row.
Any colour. Doesn't have to be all blacks, doesn't have to be no cushions, doesn't have to be anything complicated.
Yeah.
Because what I thought is if I clear up 10 times in a row, no matter how easy, I mean, another one of my favourite ones used to be just 1 red anywhere and the colours. Then 2 reds anywhere and the colours. And if you can get to 15 reds and the colours without missing, well, you get to a match, someone gives you a chance at first frame, what do? You clear up.
And I suppose what you're doing there is you're replicating almost a bit of a pressure situation in your practice.
If you get to 8 or 9, believe me, you're twitching because you don't want to go back to 1.
You want to go back to...
And you have to have the mental attitude to go back to 1.
I'm not sure I can do that because if you don't get any lunch before you can do that, I think I'd go very hungry, to be honest.
I mean, yes, it's a long time. It takes a lot of concentration because, as you know, if you don't concentrate, you can miss anything. Yeah. If you're not concentrating.
I know that even the 8-ball players now, I think they tend to play a lot of practice with each other, and I know that's good, and it's getting you to the level, and you're getting used to someone hitting you with bombs back and hitting you with tons. But I'd heard you say about the solo practice that you used to do.
I did play some stuff with people, but as I say, I thought solo was I got the most benefit out of solo. Yeah. But sometimes you get lazy and you think, oh, do I really want to play on my own all day, pick balls out on my own all day? I'll just play someone, it's easier. Do you think the standard of 8-ball has gone up since we first met in 2013?
I think it's without a shadow of a doubt gone up, and I said before, I think the reason for that is players are now professional players in terms of making a living, in the Chinese pool, making a very good living. There's a lot of huge events for huge prize money. The industry in China is huge. They've all got huge sponsorship deals. They're playing tournaments week in, week out.
Should be thanking me.
Well, we spoke, obviously, you were before I knew that you signed with Joy. Yeah. I didn't know a thing about Chinese pool.
I didn't. I mean, Ken, obviously, who we know, Chao Bing, who's the boss of Joy at the time, he was one of the only maybe 2-3 people that knew I was going to retire in 2012 because I'd already signed with him before the World Championship. But like you, I'd known nothing about the game. But he gave me his dream was to have Chinese 8-ball become this huge billiard sport, the biggest billiard sport in China. It was like a down market sport almost. The clubs were a bit grotty. The people that played it, it was probably like snooker in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, like it was almost classed as like a street game in China, wasn't it?
And he wanted to elevate it to be, so obviously I was wearing the bow ties, and obviously then got other people wearing the bow ties, and then the championship started in January in Qingguangdao. And since then, so I think, someone needs to pay me some money.
and to be honest, that sort of leads me on really to the next thing, was from the back of, I got invited to that first Joy Masters. I knew nothing about Chinese 8-ball other than there was this game happening in China. Stephen Hendry had signed to play with this company to promote Chinese pool, and they were hosting this big event. And the first event, they invited the top 2 Q Sport players from each discipline, didn't they? Because I don't think they knew who was going to be any good at Chinese pool.
Yeah. Because I played Earl Strickland.
There was, you played Earl Strickland one year, but that first year, I think there was you and Ken Doherty were the snooker players, and then there was the top 2 American pool players, there was the top 2 English 8-ball players, there was the top 2 women players.
Chris Melling, wasn't
Chris
it?
Melling, there was Mick Hill, Darren Appleton, there was Ralph Souquet.
Yeah.
So they didn't know who would be, so because of the hybrid sort of theme to this game, they didn't know whether snooker players would be the best.
I'm not going to make you pot that.
So they didn't know who was going to be the best, so that's what they did, and that's all I knew. I flew out 5 days early, practiced for 5 days, and obviously, that was the Joy Masters. But the next, from where it's gone since then. Yeah.
I mean, you've got every fortnight, every month is a tournament with $200,000 to the winner.
Yeah, at least.
It's incredible.
Two big ones was 700,000 each to the winner. They're going to be in the same month coming up in sort of May to June. So it's incredible, the prize money. But then what's followed on from that, which is definitely off the the back of how it started out with you promoting it, is there's now a seriously high chance, in the 90% chance, that it's going to be in the LA Olympics.
Really?
The 28 LA Olympics.
Just pool, not snooker?
Well, at the minute, Chinese 8-ball, whether snooker gets in as well, I'm not 100% sure, but if it doesn't make it to the 28 LA, they're basically saying it's guaranteed that it's going to be in the Sydney 32 Olympics.
That's
so
amazing.
I think this is going to be, a very good chance of being one of the first Q sports to be in the Olympics, which, as you said, when you first went over in 2013 to where it's at now.
Yeah. I mean, some of the clubs I went to, was like, you walk in, you think, my God.
That's the wing ball.
That's the wing ball. So obviously that's the reason why quite a lot of snooker players are having a dabble in it. Obviously, obviously the sponsorship deals, they're getting good deals to go out there, but the prize money offer is...
Yeah, the prize money on offer, and obviously as I said, the industry, the level of the sponsorship, and the fame of the players out there, because China's almost a country within its own world, where they have their own social media, their own TV channels, and all the big events are live on TV.
Is it actual TV or is it streaming?
I think it's going towards the streaming side now, but obviously all the Masters back in the day when you were there was all CCTV5.
Yeah. Because a little bit like in the UK, I mean, nobody watches TV anymore.
No.
It's all streaming, it's all social media stuff. I had a bet, Matt Selt is one of the players that plays quite a lot of it. I bet him that a snooker player wouldn't win a tournament within the next 3 years.
Yeah.
He said he would. He says he's going to be the best player, snooker player, best.
Well,
as with Matt, he's never shy in coming
with
statements.
One thing I'll say to you with that is there's an event happening at the minute in China. There's 2 events. I fly out on Friday for the second one. There's one happening now, and Matt Selt and Paget are the only 2 Brits left in it. Okay. So I think if he's to win a tournament realistically, or go deep in one of the tournaments in China, obviously he's a professional snooker player and the snooker's his priority at the minute. I think for you to win at Chinese 8-ball, like any other sport, it's got to be your priority and your only sport. It's impossible just to turn up every couple of months,
But I would say it's even more difficult though for us because of the double elimination.
Yeah.
If it's straight knockout, they might have a chance to beat, but they might, even if they beat one of the top Chinese, then they're still in it. They're going to come back, and the chance of beating them twice is maybe... I can show my... with the Potts cue.
It works.
Yeah, but this is... I'm not optimistic about clearing up here. I won't lie.
And obviously that's horrible, but because if you were to leave on the half ball angle this side of it and play it in a way where you're going to get the cue ball there, that's what the pool player's brain is. If I miss that ball, maybe not so much the snooker's mentality, because it's like I'm potting that ball, and if you miss, you know, you're both playing the red, aren't you? You're both playing the same ball effectively. Where obviously at 8 ball, you're both playing opposite suits. So if you were to get somewhere here with an angle and play it and get the cue ball, I have no shot basically if you miss it.
Right, okay.
This looks...
It's dead straight.
Oh, not straight. Oh, look at that spin away.
My favourite shot. Putting a ball down a cushion on a Chinese 8-ball table. Absolute
like a
million.
Punchy run through.
I mean, is that...
That wasn't a million miles away.
That's what I mean. Even when I hit the bat, I thought, like, just don't go in. Well, at least I'm coming back to the table, I think. Angle.
Wait, that's a nice one. So, oh, a beautiful cannon that is. So, growing up, regarding sporting idols, who would have been yours? Not necessarily, you know, from the not necessarily, you know, from the snooker world, but just in general, sporting idol.
I didn't really have many sport. I mean, my dad used to take me to watch Hearts in the Scottish League, obviously, when I was young, and there was a guy called Bobby Prentice, a winger, was my idol. Football, but snooker was Jimmy White when I first started playing. Right,
yeah. Who obviously was recently on the channel with you. What a shot. Knew that was in.
Yeah, it was amazing to get on, because obviously we've been doing it now for about 2.5 years, and he was one of the top 3 I wanted on. Yeah. Obviously Ronnie, Steve, obviously the top players. And in the beginning he said no. Not like a black and white no, but he said no, I'm doing this. So I thought, I was gutted, because like, my hero and stuff. But then we obviously did it, and it was, brilliant. All right, come on, try and cue this. I can't put this to my chin, because the ash is hurting my beard. That's a big excuse.
Oh, with that cue, actually, you can't miss it. But as regard...
But I was the most nervous, sorry to interrupt, I was the most nervous, I think, out of anyone I've done.
With Jimmy?
On the channel, yeah.
And he looked the part, you know, he turned up with the waistcoat on.
I said, Jimmy didn't have to get dressed up. He said, I would do it properly.
Yeah, amazing. And anyone that follows your social media will know that, obviously, you're a big golf fan. You play a lot of golf. You're a very good golfer. And I suppose Tiger Woods would be someone that would be right up there.
I love, like, I mean, I still watch the odd race, but I used to be banging at Formula 1. Yeah. And I used to like Schumacher as well. Yeah. I just love serial winners. Yeah. I've never been one to like support like the triple British thing, support the underdog. Yeah, and to be honest, that's always out, you know, you and my era in the snooker of growing up watching you dominating, you know, winning every single tournament. And that's how I was, you know, the fact that, I've gone high. You know, you were a winner and you were winning all the tournaments, you know, that's what I liked. And you're right, I think the British mentality sometimes is, you know, to not like the winner and support the underdog. Yeah. No, so people that just want to keep winning and winning and winning. So that the wing balls went high. Did that mean I hit it too hard? Yeah, so hit it too hard, or there's a lot of technical stuff really to the break. It's not just a case of taking the cue back and maybe hitting it too hard. The way I hit it is obviously different. It's the way you strike the cue ball. So if you pop into the back of the cue ball, that's effectively making the cue ball hop onto the front ball, which would then push them high. Right. If they now, you've seen, okay, now they're going high, maybe the next break, what you would do is you would open your hand right out and keep the cue flat and hit it on a really flat line, which would then maybe, so there's lots of things that you can do with the strike of the cue ball that manipulate what those wing balls do. I think people see it on the TV and just think, oh, that went high, that went low, but you really can manipulate it. Shot. What's your favourite city in China? I mean, Shanghai's probably the obvious one, is it?
Yeah, and well, yeah, I think the Shanghai's the obvious one because it's probably the most westernized, isn't it? And there's some amazing, restaurants and hotels. And I think for people that haven't been to China, I think I've done over 60 trips to China now, and I guess you're even more than that. But Shanghai is the most westernized, but I quite like certain parts of Beijing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I spend more of the time. I think the Chinese pools are more popular in the northern part of China, so I would spend more time. In the south would probably be more snooker and American pool.
Yeah.
Drop into the gap. Are you on a choice of 2 balls?
What's it? I mean, you've obviously been to dinners with eating some weird shit. I mean, I think bear's claw, like wolf's anteater, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I turned my nose up at, not this trip I've just been, but I was there in October, was pig's fallopian tube.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
I mean, what is it?
Well, I've had shark's anus.
Nice.
That's a nice one.
I mean, pig's anus was a funny one because we're eating, they do the kebabs late at night and they're delicious. You sit outside and you eat the lamb kebabs and pork and beef and everything. And I was with Sean, who you know from Joy's back in the days of Joy, and he brought these kebabs out. And he's like, because he kept on bringing different ones in. I was like, delicious, delicious. And he brought this one. He missed it. Oh. And he brought this one. You were waiting for me to give you that, weren't you? And he brought this one. And I thought, it smells a bit funny. This one. He went, I said, what is it? He went, it's pork. I said, yes, pork, but what is it? That's not. Oh. I said, what is it? What part of pork is? And so I ate a bit. It was disgusting. And he said it was a pork's anus. Yeah, lovely. Yeah,
I remember a similar one to that. We were, this dish came out and it just looked like little bits of chicken basically in like a salt and chili. And so I picked one up as the plate's coming round and the translator that was with me sort of started giggling. So obviously I put it down, I'm like, well, obviously that's not chicken then. Like, well, what's that? It says that they were just little frogs. Right. That were basically just squeezed up into like little parcels that look like chicken. It is pretty, and obviously, what a shot, kicked it out. Oh,
you can't believe, what an absolute joke.
Nice angle on the 14 maybe. Ooh, might be pacey. He's going to come back for it last, good shot.
No, I mean, this is it, no man's land. Absolute no man's land. Yeah. Oh yeah, nice shot. Nice.
But yeah, and on the food side, in all seriousness, obviously when you're going over to play some big events, you do have to be careful. What you're eating.
Yeah.
It has got me a few times.
But I mean, I don't know about you, but I love it. I probably after the last couple of trips, probably be about 80 cities now.
Really, wow.
In China.
And that's with a company called Panda that you're now working with, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what is it that they do? Are they a table manufacturer? They own clubs?
Table manufacturer. They've just started cues, Mollis cues, M-O-L-I-S.
Yeah.
But clubs, they're a table manufacturer.
Yeah.
But I mean, the size. I mean, they're opening 50, 100 clubs a month.
Yeah, incredible.
I mean, it's just
incredible.
They're based in Wuhan, where I've spent a lot of time, which is actually a really cool city, actually. And there's a road. It's about 2 kilometers long. They've got 4 clubs in the one road.
Wow.
And they're all like 24 hours.
They're all Panda clubs?
24 hours packed, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so try and get the wing ball 11 and 5. Can't buy one today.
Do you get days like that where they just don't? You
do. Yeah. And it can just be sometimes like a fraction of little things that you're doing even on the backswing, on the take back, the grip.
Yeah.
So obviously the other thing I wanted to ask was that one of your best friends, Mark Williams, is now in China, not full time. Obviously, he's still very much at the top of the game at snooker, but he's in China signed with Joy, playing in a lot of the big Chinese 8-ball events.
Yeah.
What's his opinion on it? You know, what's his thoughts on what's happening?
I think he quite likes it as a game. I mean, we've talked about this before. It suits him the way he plays because he's very clever the way, in snooker in terms of cannons.
Yeah.
He never hits the ball that hard in snooker. It's all about touch and feel.
Yeah.
So, and also his safety play is very clever as well, which probably, don't play a lot of safety in this obviously, but I think he would be able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I've seen, good shot. What I've seen from all of the snooker players that I've seen, Mark Selby aside, because he plays. He played 8-ball. He started playing 8-ball before he played snooker as a very young kid. I think Mark Williams, out of the snooker players, is the best player that I've seen so far, and I think you're right. It's because. Good shot. What about clearance? This is. He has such an amazing touch to put the cue ball where he wants, which he obviously has at the snooker as well. But this for a dish. He's back.
He's not even giving me this. It's making me pot it.
Good finish. Decider.
Yeah. And plus his eyesight's gone, so the smaller table helps him as well. From a distance in snooker, he's like...
Yeah, I seen it at the last event that he was obviously struggling. And I think the big thing as well is he's got such a good temperament, isn't he? Yeah. Probably arguably the best temperament ever.
Yeah, at this game, you need patience.
Yeah.
Because it does my head in. And I do not have the patience with this game. And it's a fight, but obviously I'm not playing against, a lot of the time I'm not playing good players because I'm going around clubs playing local people in a club opening and stuff.
Yeah.
And if they're not good players, the balls just end up here, there, everywhere. And
I think his temperament, obviously, at this game, because I think at this game you have a lot of madder things happen in terms of like flukes and like you can be winning a match, next minute a few dry breaks, and all of a sudden you've lost. Where at snooker it's maybe a bit more in your own hands, isn't it? It's where it can be taken away from you by a good player without you doing anything wrong.
Well, if there's not alternate breaks, I mean, you could sit there for what? 20 minutes?
Yeah. If winner breaks. Yeah, winner breaks. They can. They put some serious numbers on.
Did my break?
Decider your break. He's only going to make the wing ball in the decider.
Timing. Say my career. Say I just know when
he just knows.
I know when to go up a gear.
The winner.
Oh, I don't know, but I don't know this.
No.
I can get near the pink, I think, here, maybe.
Good shot.
I potted it too thick.
A question on the snooker. Do you think that your record at the Crucible will be beat in terms of 8?
Do you know what?
Would it be Ronnie, or do you think someone else could do it?
I thought that Selby was going to do it. When he won 4, I thought when he was flying and I thought he was going to be the one to beat 7 at that day. Obviously, he's not gone past that. Obviously, O'Sullivan's got to 7 now, but he's not played since the UK.
Tough going in.
I've got a feeling he will play in the World, and he's done it before. He's taken a year off and won it. So if he maybe comes back and he's secretly going to put a month's practice in and getting sharp.
Do you think even with the month's practice, though, there's no substitute for the match practices and the match sharpness? Or do you think he's that good to just be able to win a few matches? And
whether he's that good anymore, because when he did it before, obviously he was a much younger man, possibly not the standard of players. I mean, there's 4 or 5 players. You've got Wilson, Trump, Selby, Murphy played brilliant in the Masters. If he plays like that, he's got a chance. Mark Allen, if he gets back. You could even put Higgins in there. So there's a lot of players. I think it's very open this year.
Yeah.
But I tend to think he's not got many chances left, Ronnie. Mark's already 50. It's just along the cushion. I just don't even want to play them. I mean, it's just disgusting.
Oh, these are not nice, though.
Give me a chance. You don't want to lose to a retired snooker player on your channel. Smelly table, isn't it? brown out here.
Good effort. A hold of it too much. Adrenaline went. Another chance, maybe. It's in. Great shot.
No, it's not really. I thought I was getting a better contact on that 14.
Maybe just clip it back and move the rack out, boy. Shot. Oh, nice. Nice cannon.
God, this is pints of blood I'm trying here. This is absolute. Any good?
It is, yeah. You've got the angle. Because of the weight of the cue ball, it just delays first, doesn't it, before it comes back?
I mean, this is when the game does my brains in. I just said, what do you do now? So I just batter the brown as
Just
hard
belt
as
it.
possible.
Yeah, what about the three railer? Can it squeeze past the 15 into here? Oh, I think if you missed that 14, you were good. Obviously, you've achieved an unbelievable amount at the snooker. If I was to say what would be your biggest disappointment of your career, what would that be?
I think the Ebden final, 2002. I beat Ronnie in the semis.
Yeah.
And I thought that whoever won that match was going to win it. I beat Ronnie, and I didn't have the best attitude going into the final. I didn't think there was any way Peter could beat me over 4 sessions.
Yeah.
And started the match a bit. It's already been confident, but it went beyond confidence. It went like almost arrogance.
Yeah.
And so I started the match sluggishly. I mean, not taking anything away from Peter. I mean, he played great and deserved to win, but that was a big disappointment. And missing that black against Williams in the final of the Masters, final frame.
Yeah.
Because he never fucking shuts up about it. He does my brains in.
Yeah. That's probably one of the most shown clips, isn't it, out of them all, I would say.
So I tried to get a safe cue ball.
It's pretty safe, though.
Playing safe at pool, what has the world come to? He's played one as well.
Do you like the jump cue?
Should really, shouldn't I? It's a shot. That's for a bit.
Yeah, so this has obviously got quite a long way to travel, so you probably need to give it a bit of a hit.
I mean, there's just no power in that. That was pathetic. It's just that alien technique.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it is to me.
I never had cue power ever anyway, but that was just like, that was pathetic.
And when we were talking before about this being a hybrid cue sport, that every cue sport discipline player feels like they can, be pretty good at.
Yeah.
That's another reason why the American pool players feel like they're good at this, because obviously the jump shot's always been a thing at American pool.
Right.
Obviously, I come from an English pool background, so obviously there was no jump shots there. Obviously, there's no jump shots in snooker, so it does feel a little bit.
Do you still play the English pool tournaments?
No, I don't play any English pool anymore.
Yeah, because I was going to say, is it difficult to jump from one thing to the other, one game to the other?
It definitely is, especially obviously at the English pool, because the cue ball is lighter than the object ball. That makes it doubly difficult.
I've got to make you pot it. Got to see it in. Yeah, too good. Well played.
Really appreciate the chat, mate.
No, that was it. That's very. I enjoyed it. Just wish I could play this game. Wish I could put one down the bloody cushion. That's what.